Hello, everyone. Welcome to the inaugural edition of Voices of the Industry, an interview series where we get to know some of the most interesting and thought-provoking leaders in Connecticut's insurance marketplace. Voices of the Industry is a collaboration between the Connecticut CPCU Society chapter and the Center for Career Development at the University of Connecticut. My name is Zach McInnes, and I am the Assistant Director of Corporate Partner Relations here in the Center for Career Development, and I'll be facilitating our conversation today. Today, we're talking to Monique Ferraro, counsel in the Cyber and Privacy Risk Practice at Hartford Steam Boiler Insurance and Inspection Company. I'm excited to get to know Monique and to pick her brain about her career journey and her perspective on what makes the insurance industry in Connecticut such a dynamic space. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, Monique, first question. What is your name and current job title, and how long have you been working in the insurance industry?
Now, wouldn't you have been surprised if I said something other than my name is Monique Ferraro? My name is Monique Ferraro, and I'm cyber counsel in the Global Cyber Product Ownership Group at HSB. I've been there for 5.5 years now. In October, it'll be 6 years.
Excellent, thank you. Did you go to college? If so, where did you go and what did you study?
Like the song sort of says, how much college did you go to? A lot. How much studying did you do? A lot, right? I have a bachelor's degree in criminal justice administration. I have a master's degree in criminal justice with a concentration in research. And I have a law degree from none other than the University of Connecticut.
You are a UConn alum. I did not know that. How exciting. Uh,
Yes.
yeah, one of the things that I always find interesting personally are the different majors that professionals in the insurance industry had in college. It's not just, actuarial science or things that you might typically associate with insurance. It's really a more broad base than that. So criminal justice, that's fascinating.
It's all about, risks and risk management.
Absolutely. And how did you end up working in the insurance industry?
It, like many of my colleagues have said at many different times, nobody has a direct route into insurance except for those who are really eager to do that. A lot of us, especially at HSB, are on our second careers. I worked in criminal justice for 19 years. I worked for the state of Connecticut in the Department of Public Safety. Now it's called the Department of Emergency Services. So I initially worked as a research analyst and then an intelligence analyst. I, added up columns of numbers and put together reports and then helped to put together a network, an intelligence sharing network for the intelligence unit. And while I was doing that, I learned a lot about networking and cybersecurity. And I learned of a grant program for investigating child abuse images on the internet. And I wrote that grant. And when you write the grants, you get to write in your own position. So I created a position for myself, and we established the Computer Crimes and Electronic Evidence Unit and the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force in Connecticut. I retired from the state and taught full-time for a couple of years. I taught digital forensics, criminal justice, criminal law, all kinds of different things. I opened up a practice of law, and I started a digital forensics analysis and consulting business. And one day I was, as usual, going through different, employment ads because I like to keep track of, what's going on in different industries and who's hiring, who's not, how they're growing, how they're not. It's good. It's just good practice, just even for business intelligence and for investments. So anyway, I came across an ad for a cyber and privacy attorney in an insurance company, which was HSB. And I thought, wow, that would be the perfect union of my skills, right? And it would also be 40 hours a week instead of 24/7. And I have been with HSB ever since.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, one of the things that I find interesting is that there's no one pathway that leads professionals to the insurance industry, and I think you're a case in point. So thinking more about your current role, and tell us a little bit about what you do every day. What does a typical day in Monique Ferraro's life look like?
Every day is different. It's I am gifted with that. Some people like to have a routine where they do the same thing every day. I certainly do not, and I am blessed that I am able to have, a bunch of different projects going at the same time, a bunch of very interesting things that I do. Um, One of the things that I do is I lead our claims vendor management program. I'm meet with vendors, evaluate them, I conduct the due diligence, I draft and execute agreements with them and monitor their performance. This has been very important lately, especially since October, because the U.S. Department of Treasury, the Office of Financial Assets, Foreign Assets Control, OFAC, and FinCEN, um, as well as the New York Department of Financial Services, have come out with strong suggestions about what should be done with regard to compliance when making ransom payments. So that whole program has gotten very important as far as compliance goes, and so that has taken more of my time lately. But I also work on big projects, des- designing. I'm struggling to say something is to tell you without telling you. Um, Larger projects that will have a big impact on how risk management is conducted for cyber at HSB for our end insureds. I support underwriting, client company management, product development, and claims with technical and legal expertise on cyber and privacy. And I also support Munich Re's integrated risk management as part of their incident response team for major cyber and privacy incidents. And I advise on policy development and execution. So every day is different, in addition to monitoring the legal and regulatory environment on a pretty regular basis. I respond to ad hoc requests and I have ongoing large projects. I put out a newsletter every week that has links to cyber and privacy articles that are relevant. And I also put together a quarterly report on legal developments.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, we're seeing more and more of our students here at UConn take an interest in cybersecurity issues, just in general. So it seems like a
Well,
growth.
that's good because it's the one thing, it's the one IT function that really can't be outsourced. So it's a great career path for people in the United States.
Well said. So you've touched a bit on this already, but what do you enjoy about your job, Monique? What motivates you to wake up in the morning?
I love what I do. I love what I do. I love cyber. I love that it changes. I love that every day, is something different. And what you could stick a flag in a hill on yesterday, you got to take it out. You got to move down the street the next day. It's a constantly evolving thing, and it's fascinating. It's unlike any other field of insurance, and unlike any other field. Period.
Excellent. And so what do you enjoy about working in the insurance industry?
When I saw that there was such a thing as cyber insurance 6 years ago, I thought that is brilliant. That is brilliant. The cyber insurance literally saves businesses. I had two small companies. I can tell you if there was, a a major event without having cyber insurance, I probably wouldn't have been able to survive, moving forward as a business. And I see great value in what insurance does. And, not only is it good for businesses, the insurance businesses themselves, but it is absolutely income saving, saves families because people aren't losing their businesses or their incomes. It really is a meaningful and valuable contribution to society, and I feel worthwhile.
Beautifully said. Thank you for that. What designations and/or certifications do you hold? What was the journey like to obtain them, and how have they helped you in your career?
Oh, it has been a long journey, my friend. I could tell you that the hardest designation that I sat for was the CPCU, which I completed at the end of 2020. I'm a lawyer and I took the bar exam. I could tell you that the accounting and finance exam for me was definitely harder than taking the bar exam. I really thought it took me a year to study. I studied every day. It was incredibly hard for me. Other courses were easier, but it was definitely the most worthwhile designation that I've gotten. And the CPCU Society did not pay me to say that, I swear. But it is definitely worthwhile. And if you're interested in going into insurance, joining the society is a great way to network, to gain knowledge about the industry, to meet people who work in the companies that you may be interested in working for. It's and beyond that, the education that I received in those courses is incredibly valuable. I learned so much about insurance in a short period of time. I would estimate that the 4 years that I put into it is worth easily 15 years of experience, day to day. I also hold a certified information systems security professional certification. It's the premier certification in cybersecurity. I've had that since 2002. I also have several certifications from the International Association of Privacy Professionals, which goes hand in hand with security. People who know about IT security really should know a little bit about privacy. People who know about privacy really should know about cybersecurity because they go hand in hand.
Excellent. I think one of the most powerful things that you've said so far, or at least what I've heard, you'll correct me if I'm wrong, I hope, is that insurance is fundamentally about helping people. Like thinking if there's a natural disaster or a cybersecurity attack, it's the insurance industry that's typically there to help people rebuild their lives. And to me, that's really powerful and rewarding. And so in that vein, do you have any funny or interesting stories that you'd like to share with us that have occurred during your career?
I have many stories, and some of them are sadly funny, but at the time I don't. They were horrifying. The first month I worked at HSB, I had a meeting with my team as well as some of the people from claims, and the senior vice president of specialty claims was there sitting next to me. And I drink tea and he drinks tea. And somehow in my head, I decided that that was my tea. And I started drinking his tea. And he didn't even miss a beat. He just, I mean, he was so gracious about it. And there I was drinking his tea. And I realized at the end of the meeting that I drank Ken's tea. So I went to my boss at the time and I said, Tim, I think Ken thinks I'm crazy because I drank his tea in the meeting. My boss said to me, well, we're going to find out sooner or later anyway, aren't we?
Awesome. Thank you. Um, if you were to talk with a college student considering entering the insurance industry, what advice would you have for them, and why would you encourage them to pursue a career in insurance?
I think that insurance is really the best industry to be in for someone who is young right now. I think that the gig economy is great for some people, but for the insurance industry, I think attracts a certain kind of person, somebody who is, you know, averse to risk for the most part. We certainly have our share of entrepreneurs, but entrepreneurs who are very aware of risk. And people who are aware of risk tend to want a steady gig, and they tend to want to have predictability. And I think that that's something that insurance provides, that even, like government employment used to be the place to go if you wanted a steady, predictable income, retirement benefits, a 40-hour work week, or even a 35-hour work week in some cases. That's what insurance has to offer, but it also offers so much in terms of career growth, lateral and vertical movement, and opportunities to get to know people in other companies and to learn about opportunities there. So it really is, whatever you want it to be. And there's so much potential for people who are interested in learning and growing.
Excellent. Thank you so much for sharing that. And our last question today is there anything else that you'd like to share with us?
Yes. Whatever you do, don't limit yourselves. You are not defined or limited by your prior training or your experience. Um, if I could have taken a narrow view and stuck with criminal justice and government administration, but I've always looked sort of beyond that. Granted, when I went to my interview, straight out of graduate school at the state police, I figured, I'm going to be here, I think 2 years, and then I'll move on. And I ended up being there for almost 20 years. Um, that said, I always kept an eye out on what's going on in various markets and things that interest me, and keep on learning. It doesn't end when you graduate and you get your diploma and you walk off the stage. It's a constant thing. You evolve, and as you evolve and grow, your interests will evolve and grow, and it'll bring you to places, and hopefully it'll bring you to insurance and possibly to HSB, where we can become colleagues.
I love it. Thank you so much. Keep on learning. Truer words have never been said. Well, I sure learned a lot today, Monique. Thank you for this great conversation, and thank you to everyone for tuning in. Until next time, this is Voices of the Industry.